Hello, everyone, and welcome to our last discussion for the topic domain bacteria. So, after we have discussed about its general features, about the major groups, it's important that we recognize its significance to human, no? And there are many facets that we can look into it. Okay, so in this lesson, we should be able to assess their importance at the ecological, economic, industrial, and health na applications, no? And evaluate the impact of some pathogenic bacteria and value bacterial diversity. Okay? So alam natin that most bacteria are capable of breaking down organic and dead particles, no? And in this process, carbon is released together with nitrogen and other essential elements that's needed for nutrient cycle. Okay? Without them, it for example, a carcass or like a dead organism, say for example, will just be retained as is, no, and it will not return in a way that can be utilized by other organisms, no. So that's how important they are. They help in nutrient cycling, no, as decomposers, and also as nitrogen fixers, no. Sinabi natin kanina yung about nitrosomonas. So dito yung example dito, ano. And together with that, there are actually two groups of bacteria that are known to be nitrogen fixers, no? We have yung cyanobacteria or yung ating photosynthetic bacteria, and then we also have from the genus Rhizobium. Okay? So cyanobacteria, because they are photosynthetic, they can fix nitrogen, while Rhizobium naman are another group of bacteria that forms mutualistic relationship with plant legumes. So in this figure right here, it shows the role of bacteria in the process of nitrogen cycle. No, um, we start with these nitrogen fixing bacteria, such as these Rhizobium na species, no, nitrogen fixing bacteria, and many of these bacteria would live in leguminous root nodules. Okay, yung munggo natin, say for example. Okay, and these bacteria being situated in the root nodules, kaya nilang i-fix yung atmospheric na nitrogen and convert it into ammonium ion, yung ating NH4 plus, no? And right after this process of nitrogen fixation right here, nitrification would occur wherein ammonium is acted upon by nitrifying bacteria such as Nitrosomonas species. Ito yun, ammonium na to, no? After this nitrogen fixing part right here, yung ammonium ion right here, okay, is acted upon by nitrifying bacteria. Example nito would be Nitrosomonas species, no, to produce nitrites. Yung nitrites naman is acted upon by another nitrifying bacteria. In this case naman, Nitrobacter, to produce nitrates, no? So nitrates is in a form that can be readily assimilated or readily absorbed by plants. If it's just ammonium ion or if it's in its nitrite, no, so it will not be of use sa plants. So thanks to Nitrobacter, no, it's capable of converting nitrite into nitrate in a way that can be in a form that can be readily assimilated by our plants, no. So that's how important bacteria are. Okay, so that's for the facet if we look at its ecological sense, no. Economic sense naman, ginagamit din natin yung bacteria sa food. This one, ano siya, probiotic drinks, say for example, no, yung Yakult natin, it's used in the milk industry. For example, to convert dairy into yogurt, cheese, and buttermilk, no? And the dairy product Yakult natin is an example also of a market na product that contains bacteria, no? However, despite these promising and crucial functions in the food industry, some species can also lead to food poisoning. So say for example, the toxins that are produced by some harmful bacteria are transmitted in food and can cause food poisoning when consumed. So this is particularly a problem if food is not properly stored, no, at the right temperature. These bacteria can flourish because our food are rich in nutrients. Okay? And then we also have in medicine, bacteria are exploited to produce antibiotics, no? In fact, most of the antibiotics that we have right now are sourced from bacteria. So if you try to recall yung alternative assessment number 1, yung teixobactin, that's also an example of an antibiotic that's outsourced from bacteria. And even some vaccines are also made from attenuated form of these bacteria, no, that cause a particular disease. When we say attenuated, ibig sabihin, it's just a form of vaccine that's a weakened the version, no? Weakened the version, or it can be a dead remnant of a bacteria. Okay, so example of vaccines against that have been used this way are those vaccines against cholera, what else? Tetanus, typhoid fever, diphtheria. All of these were made from attenuated or the weakened form of these organisms, no, to prepare our immune system to fight these diseases. We also have in biotechnology, particularly yung plasmids. No? It is because of these plasmids that made it possible for us to make many copies of our desired gene. This is done by basically cutting at palindromic sections ang ating plasmid, no? Palindromic, ibig sabihin ko ano yung pagkabasa sa forward, ganun din yung backward, no? So ikakat lang yung portion na yun siya ng plasmid or yung circular na DNA. And then, what will happen is that you have your gene right here, lalagyan mo lang din siya ng sequence dito sa both ends ng gene na gusto mong paramihin para maging complementary siya sa kung saan mo kinat kay plasmid. Okay? And take note, bacteria can make many copies of plasmid via horizontal gene transfer, no? And because of binary fission, no, one bacteria can exponentially grow after some time. So, recent advancements in biotechnology are brought by bacteria, no? Specifically E. coli E. coli kasi mabilis yung kanyang generation time. In 30 minutes, you can already have twice your original or yung starting mo na concentration. And that goes the same with the number of inserts that you have in your plasmid, no? So marami siyang application, pwedeng recombinant protein, no? Gaya ng example natin kanina sa umpisa, no? This is actually the first recombinant protein, yung insulin shot, that's made from bacteria actually. Okay? And then gene editing also can be used this way, gene delivery, and even the coming up with transgenic organisms. Okay? And all of these research areas and advances in biotechnology are possible because of the peculiar characteristics of bacteria. And then in terms of industrial significance, yung economic significance of bacteria is seen in its application in various industries. Say for example, in agriculture, it's one of the industries na kung saan bacteria is of high importance, no? So earlier sa lesson natin kanina, we learned na merong bacteria that forms mutualistic relationship in plant roots by fixing nitrogen for plants to use, no? And we also learned that through nitrification process that's acted upon by bacteria, yung mga fertilizers natin are provided to plants, no, in a way that can be used, no, from ammonium ion converted into nitrite and then in a form of nitrate that can be readily assimilated by plants. So there are more uses to bacteria in agriculture other than being nitrogen fixers and biofertilizer producers. So halimbawa nito will be our plant growth promoting rhizobacteria. This basically refers to all mutualistic bacteria that colonizes plant roots, no? And when they colonize plant roots, they would enhance the growth performance of plants in various ways. So yung mechanism ng plant growth promoting rhizobacteria include if they colonize the root, they would increase the uptake of nutrients, so they facilitate nutrient uptake. They also enhance the production of substances that are known to be responsible for growth and suppressing the transmission of pathogenic bacteria in plants. So in a way, it also confers protection sa ating plants, no? So maraming examples of these plant growth promoting rhizobacteria. You know? So no need to really memorize the scientific names. Okay. In terms when some bacteria are beneficial, others naman are pathogenic, no? So bacteria are considered beneficial in plants, but others are important causative agents in plant diseases. So panicle blight, say for example, yung rot, crown gall, all of these would enter the plants through lesions or openings in the stomata, and then it will localize there, and then it will proliferate in the plant, no? So in the Philippines, say for example, a common disease, no, yung bacterial wilt natin or yung parang bugtok disease, it's affecting bananas. Halimbawa, it causes discoloration in fruit and bunch stalks, no? So it's a pressing problem in the agriculture sector. And bacteria also as mutualists, no? And we are familiar of the negative effects of bacteria to human health. However, hindi lahat ng bacteria are pathogenic. As a matter of fact, some can be beneficial symbiotes or mutualists, no? So for instance, yung firmicutes natin, and then and bacteroidetes, no? Bacteroidetes, sinabi natin kanina that they are found in the gastrointestinal tract, and most of them are mutualistic, no? For mutualistic relationship. Mutualistic siya in the way that it helps in breaking down carbohydrates, no? And that's for firmicutes. For bacteroidetes naman, aside from metabolizing carbohydrates, tumutulong din sila sa energy production and transport of essential amino acids, no, across organ systems. Okay? And then we also have in microbiome, no? Microbiome is relatively a new field. Okay? If we have genome, meron din tayong gut microbiome, and sinasabi na yung important factor in gut microbiome is mainly caused by many factors, no? It can be by diet, use of medicine, it can be by genetic and geographic predisposition, lifestyle, birthing process, it can be the infant feeding method, or it can be some xenobiotic factors like stress, no, like if you're on exercise, all of these, no. And this gut microbiome would dictate metabolism of humans, say for example, or any organism for that matter, no. And these bacteria would also aid in the breaking down process of these complex materials in a way na madaling magamit ng human and other organisms for that matter. Okay, so that's it for the significance of bacteria. You may read the summary, no? I don't need to read this one isa-isa. Nasa module na to. So I hope this recording will help you in your preparations for the exam. So God bless everyone. Bye-bye.